Good day to you all. It's my pleasure to have an opportunity to welcome you all in this great morning to the fifth session of InfoStudio, organized by the Industrial Management Science Students Association, which is a student body of Department of Industrial Management, with the intention of enhancing the knowledge and the skills of the undergraduates.
Recording in progress.
Today's session is streaming live on the social media platforms of our InfoStudio Facebook page, as well as on the IMSSA UKO YouTube channel. So the audience can watch and show their love and support there too. Without further ado, let's move on to the today's session on the topic of the business analysis career roadmap. The topic of today's session will be covered and discussed by our guest speaker, Mr. Aravinda Karunarathne, Senior Business Analyst at hsenid Business Solutions. He is also an expert in the area of project management. Therefore, we thought that he would be the most ideal person to talk about this topic. I hope that everyone will get the maximum benefit from today's session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Aravinda Karunarathne to continue this session. Sir, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Adarsh, and for, am I correctly spelling your name?
Yes.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. Actually, I'm really honored to do this session for you all and share my professional experience with you all. And before we start, actually, I would like to thank Dinesh sir and Chatura sir for giving me this opportunity to connect with you all, actually. And hope you will all you get a good understanding about what is the business analyst career, and what is that particular role and everything in this session. And before we start, I will give you a brief introduction about myself. And I'm Aravinda Karunarathne. I did my bachelor's in business administration, and I did Master of IT from University of Kelaniya. And I'm a certified business analyst from BCS, British Computer Society. And also I'm a professional member of BCS as well. And I'm a member of IIBA, and IIBA stands for International Institute of Business Analysis. And if I talk about my experience, I've been working as a business analyst for over 7 years in different domains, including AI, payroll, HR, advertising, marketing, technology, and lots of domains. I hope we can start the session. I will share my slide with you. Samit, I hope that I can share the screen, right?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay, great. Give me a second. Hope you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir, we can see this.
Slide in full screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, let's go into the session. Actually, in this session, I'm going to talk about these are the areas that I'm going to talk about in today's session. Is the agenda. First, I'm going to talk about the who is the BA, and because I think that most of you have kind of a gray area of this who is a BA. So I'm going to briefly discuss about who is a BA, and then I'm going to talk about the business analysis core concept model briefly. It's a kind of a model introduced by IIBA. It's, I think, relevant to your perspective. I will briefly discuss about that model. And then I'm going to talk about why BA is important in an organization. And then I'm going to talk about briefly business analysis core competency model, which also introduced by IIBA. Then I'm going to talk about the essential soft skills for BA. And then I'm going to talk about the kind of organization, international organizations which are promoting standards for business analysis. Then I'm going to talk about the career path of the business analyst, and then I'm going to share you some of the tips from my experience, and then I'm going to talk about a few reference for your future improvements. Okay, let's move directly to the who is a BA. It's actually a question that the most of the people who are asking that question let's say, if you go to a party or somewhere, it's one of the prominent questions that is being asked from everyone when they got to know that you are working in IT industry, and they got to know that you are working for the IT software development firm, and the very first question that they ask is what are you doing at the software development firm, and they then when the answer is given as a business analyst, they ask what are you doing as a business analyst, and they don't have any clue what the business analysts are doing, because that the most prominent roles are developers and QAs, right? You all know that. When it comes to the project management and project manager and BAs are not prominent in the other industry. In the IT industry, we are very prominent, but when it goes to the other industries, they don't have any clue who is the BA and what they are doing at the IT firm. And actually, here I placed a very funny picture, actually, saw in the internet. And in here, actually, you can see that two castles, and there is a water stream, and then two castles, two cannons are pointing each other, and hopefully, and there are gladiators as well, and alligators, and hope the right side guy is the business analyst, and the other guy says, and your job as our new analyst is to bridge the gap between two sides, right? To some extent, actually, I agree with that. With this picture, actually, you can refer to one side as the business and the other side, the other castle, as the IT. And you know that basically it's a war happened between them. And you, as a business analyst, you have to bridge the gap between them, because it's kind of in the real industry, it's true, actually. And if you ask the same question, who is a BA from different business analysts in the industry, and they will give you the similar idea, like this picture, in their terms. And actually, if you ask this question from some other guys, they may say that if they know the IT industry and the software firms activities, they say that we are collecting requirements, and as a business analyst, that business analysts are collecting requirements and gather requirements, and that kind of idea will be given. But actually, in my perspective, and actually, we don't collect requirements or gather requirements. Actually, from stakeholders, actually, we are collecting problems. Actually, when you go to the stakeholders, they don't say requirements. Actually, they say problems, and we have this problem, we have that problem, and when you do this, we can't do that, and the next everything, there are problems. Actually, the requirements coming from actually business analyst, actually, because we have to identify that the problems correctly, and then we have to provide solutions accordingly after analysis. And so the business, after identify the problems, and then business analysts are discovering that problem, and then analyze and providing suggest solution, and according to the given in the sets of solutions, we are prioritizing solutions and everything that happened after that. Here there is a definition I mentioned in here. Actually, in this definition, this definition has been given by IIBA in the body BA BOK guide. Before talking about this definition, I think it's better that I'm going to share with you that what is IIBA and what is BA BOK. IIBA is International Institute of Business Analysis, and it's a non-profit organization which was founded in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, in 2003. Actually, they are promoting business analyst profession and career growth and the standards and frameworks to enable business analysts to do their activities in more efficient way. And I think now they have over 30,000 members globally, and I think more than 120 chapters worldwide in different countries. And I'm also a member of IIBA. So according to their the BA BOK is their guidance book. Actually, some says that it's a kind of a Bible of BA. Actually, to some extent, that I agree with that point, because it's include every they have introduced lots of models that are very useful, and some are essential to do your job as a business analyst in their book. And they have done tremendous effort on that book. Actually, it stands for Business Analysis Body of Knowledge, and it's members only book, but I'm having it, but I can't share it because you know that it's not ethical to share with you all. But if you have the encouragement, and you can find it in the internet. Okay. Before starting the session, also I'm encourage you to read that BA book, because all these things are aligned with that BA book. You will be getting some idea about that in this session. According to that definition given by BA BOK, business analysis is defining needs and opportunities, recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, and it is key to enabling change that drives business success. So in here, the keywords is enabling change. So actually, as business analysts, that we are enabling change. Actually, we are enabling change based on the need. Okay, based on the need of the stakeholders, we are enabling change, and we are providing solution based on through enabling change through that through a solution. Actually, so everything will be done to satisfy the stakeholders' objectives. Okay, objectives and goals. That's where BA is operating. And there are key points here. The need keywords: need, solution, value, stakeholder, change. Those are keywords. Okay, based on these keywords, actually, IIBA has defined a model, actually, as business analyst core competency model. I will give you some idea about that, why it is there and why we need it. Actually, why we need the business analyst core concept model. The reason is using this concept model, actually, it's defining the core concept underlying in the business analysis career. And Actually, through this, business analyst can consider the quality of the and completeness of the task that he do using these pillars. Actually, there are 6 pillars: changes, solutions, context, value, stakeholders, and needs. I'm briefly discuss about this. And always business analysts are, if you are given a problem, and as business analysts, you always think that what are the kinds of changes we are doing in this particular change, and what are the needs we are trying to satisfy, what are the solutions we are creating or changing, and everything. And we always think that who are the stakeholders, and I'm a little bit talk about that further, talk about the stakeholders and everything in next few slides. And so also what do stakeholders consider to be of value, and what are the contexts that we are we are and solutions are in, and everything can be considered based on this model. And I encourage you to read more about this model, and because it will help you to get some idea about the business analysis, the core concepts, right, through this model. I'm giving you a brief example of this. Let's say that change is provide an e-commerce solution to customer like who are let's say prefer on shopping online. Okay, that is the change. Okay, so that you know that let's think that this company is require a completely new business process and functions to fulfill some online ordering. Okay, so the need is the, you know that basically let's think that there is a rising popularity in market share of e-commerce. Okay, there is a rising opportunity, and more I mean more clients are coming into the market, and there is a exponential growth in that market. That is the need that we want to achieve for the stakeholders. They want to achieve some kind of a portion of that area. So solution can be, let's say, let's think that they want to create a e-commerce store. Okay, they want to create a e-commerce store, and it's since they are new to the business, and they want to integrate that merge with the current players in the market. And let's think that this company is having the other product in, let's say that they have the other product, like they have IT HR product, HRIS product. So they want to merge that expertise on this solution as well. So it's a new one. And when they merge that solution with the existing e-commerce player, they can share their infrastructure as well. So it's kind of a win-win situation for both companies. It's like a solution. So the thing that the obviously stakeholders, you can imagine that the stakeholders are the product development team in the organization, IT, HR, and the end users and everyone. So the value can be given as two things. Tangible and intangible values are there. You can introduce, let's say that the new, you can introduce new talents to this the market. Actually, you can you can enhance the market, e-commerce market, like that. You can explain the value. Also, when we talk about the context, you can be a part of the improvement of digital infrastructure of the in the country. Actually, currently it can be also we can provide the entry for the foreign players in terms of the e-commerce platform. Likewise, we can, it's kind of a rough example. You can use it in anywhere. The context can be different, but you can use this model in different ways. I encourage you to read more about this, and with the experience, you will be having some idea about this model. I will go to the next slide. Actually, through this slide, actually, I wanted to emphasize that you know that basically BSI in most of the IT organization in currently, and basically I want to emphasize the importance of the BA role because some people doesn't have idea about what is the business analyst role and their importance in an organization. So basically, there are few. I'm not deeply discuss about these things. Let's think about the first thing is increased ROI. Definitely, business analysts always keep their focus on delivering value to their customers, because business analysts are sitting in the side of customers, so they are enabling organization to better define the product in terms of customers. Actually, they can so they can identify the customer need, and then they can eliminate the requirements with minimum value, because they know that what the customers real request and the value and everything they can analyze as a business analyst. So obviously, eventually what happened is the product ROI will be increased. Actually, the next thing is increase success rate. Actually, it's obviously true that I saw that I read a article, and it says that in 2006 there was a survey has been done in failed IT products. In that survey, basically 71% of the failed software product happened due to poor requirements. Poor requirements means that can be misleading requirements, missing requirements, so anything related to poor requirements. So if there is a skillful BA there, obviously that fail rate could have been reduced. Okay, so the next thing is reduce cost. Obviously that if there is a skillful BA, you know that basically they can better define the product and focus on the right requirement, and as I mentioned earlier, eliminate unnecessary changes and or rework with and with logical and more orderly decision making, and tailoring and align their solutions to the business or customers' needs. So basically, they can, through that, they can reduce the cost, obviously. And the next thing is gain competitive advantage. You know that in the today's world, it's in the market, it's bit complex, right? Not bit complex, it's hugely complex. Actually, if you want to develop a product, you have to, if you have a new idea or anything, it has to be delivered to the market as soon as possible. Otherwise, the other people will come into the market very easily, because it's a very complex market when it compares to 10 years ago. Now it's totally different. Now it's really complex. So if there is a skillful BA, they can accelerate the product delivery, and they can they can help the company to be the first to market and gain the market share, by creating a clear roadmap from the current to future state, and and they can deliver values to their stakeholders in that perspective. So basically, skillful BA can really gain help to company to gain the competitive advantage. So I'm moving to the next slide. Next, sorry. Actually, in this slide, I'm gonna talk about the essential soft skills required for performing business analysis tasks. Actually, these in here there are a few soft skills mentioned in here. Actually, this is coming from a survey done in 2021 by IIBA, and the survey completed by the global BAs. I think I don't remember the exact amount, but lots of BA global BAs have involved with this survey. Actually, they have rated the first soft skill that BA should have is communication skill. I have got another slide that I have not going to talk about each of these soft skills. I'm going to talk about roughly 7 skills, top 7 skills. Actually, in here, the top skills, the top essential skills. In here, the top one is the communication. I agree to that point because communication isn't about the language proficiency. It's actually about, it's really important. It's about how do you connect with other people. It's about because as a business analyst, you have lots of you have to do lots of communication between stakeholders. So because your job is to identify the requirements and the problems, underlines problems from some stakeholders. So you have to do this communication thing. Actually, the essential thing is you should be able to connect those people correctly, because each of the individuals are different. Then now, if you think about your friends that around you, and they are different, so you can't connect the same way with other person, right? It's a kind of a skill that you should be able to have. And all these soft skills are, I have to mention that there, you know, that there are 2 types of skills, right? Soft skills and hard skills. Hard skills you can easily learn because you have that brain. I know, obviously you can learn easily. Even the rocket science also you can learn if you put the right effort and the time. You can learn it, right? It can be learned by anyone. There is no single person in this world who are unable to learn hard skill. It's very rare. If we put the effort, the effort can be different person to person, but hard skill, I know about you, I'm pretty much sure that hard skill you can learn easily, because you can mark the scope from the hard skills, and you can put the effort and the time, and you can learn it more systematic way and continuously. But the soft skill isn't like that. It has to be a consistent. It's like it's coming from a habit, and it's like a consistency that when you practicing it more, you are more likely to be proficient enough in that area. Okay, the communication also something like that. You can't do it in overnight, obviously. Some people have born talent in the communication. Again stating that it's not about language proficiency. Language proficiency you can learn it, and you can mark everything, and what kind of level that I want to go to have that language proficiency, and you can have that. think about that. Let's think that how you easily connect with other people. And if you can easily connect with other people, and you can correctly deliver a message to other person the way you think, and also you are getting the information, the same information that delivered by the other person, the same idea you are having the other person have. I think that is the communication, the definition actually. Think about that. Next is the problem solving. Problem solving is one of the major skill that BA should have. It I will give you an example. Let's say that you are giving a project, giving two projects, okay? Giving two projects, and these problems are bit similar, okay, bit similar. But when you are having two problems, the solution but can be different, okay, can be different because of the stakeholders expectation. The level that you are going to solve these problems can be different, okay. So solving this problem in two different levels, it's kind of a skill. So problem solving is that kind of a skill actually. As a BA, actually you are giving lots of projects in the industry, in the real world. Actually, it's typical that as a BA you are having parallelly at least two projects, okay, parallelly at least two projects. In that scenario, sometimes you are getting the similar kind of problem, but you have to solve that problem in different ways, because the stakeholders are involving with each projects are different, so their expectations are different. Some are expecting some comprehensive solution, some are expecting some high level solution, they want to just simple things, and some the other projects, they want a very comprehensive solution, they want to do massive things. Then according to that, your problem solving skills has to be used in this in that particular situation. And the next thing is listening. Obviously, you know that it's also part of the communication as well. And I yesterday I saw an article related to that, actually, that normally in average adult, in the active hours, within the active hours, 70% of the activity, an average adults, okay, it can be different person to person. 70% of adults are listening in their active hours, and 30% happened in actually not listening state. That means they are speaking or something, okay. So listening is kind of an essential thing to communicate, because you may find some stakeholders, they may very key to that project, but they don't talk very much, okay. So as a business analyst, when they talk, you should listen very carefully for them, because they don't talk very much in that particular scenario. It might be that that might be a unnecessary things as well. They are saying that it can be anything, but you should pay your attention that whether that they are telling something useful. It doesn't matter, we don't interrupt them, we are listening, okay. Next thing is stakeholder engagement. I have discussed it earlier as well. Stakeholder engagement is regarding the stakeholders, I will discuss bit about from the next slide. I will, if I talk about briefly stakeholder engagement, as I mentioned earlier, as a business analyst, it's a kind of a soft skill, that essential soft skill. You have to engage with, you should have that soft skill to connect with the stakeholders. The other thing is critical thinking. I will talk about this a bit more. Actually, we can take the previous example. In the previous example, I mentioned that there are two projects bit similar. The solutions are different. So also vice versa, that there can be projects are totally different. Also in that particular situation, the approach your approach can be different. In that particular situation, you should understand that how to solve this problem and what is the next thing that I should do. In there is a common saying that each and every project for BA is a new job role. It's a common saying that, because we can if you go to the real industry, you will learn about more about these things. You can't attend the even though those are a bit similar, you can't attend the same problem in the similar way when you are in the real world, because the parameters are different. So the critical thinking is necessary in this situation actually. Okay, it's like this. I will let's think that you now most of you are students now. So basically think like you are having an assignment from your lecture. So if you can get an idea about what is the very next thing that that I should do, that the very next step, if you can have a thinking capability to think about the very next step that you should do to achieve this assignment goal, if you have that kind of capability, I think you have some level of critical thinking, right? If you are giving any situation, immediately you can think that what is the next very next step that I should do. And some people doesn't have that capability actually. I met lots of people who doesn't have that idea. When they have a situation, they frustrated actually. They don't know how to think what has to be done in the next point. And it also involves the psychology as well. But critical thinking like that, it's very essential. The next thing is the adaptability. Again, as per the given scenario, when you are given in the practical world, an average actually, as I know that most of the BAs are in the typical industry actually getting at least 3 projects. Okay, it's rare that when you are new to the you can have one project within your first year or second year, but after that probably you are giving more than 2 projects, and it's obvious. And in that situation, your adaptability is very important. And because same times you are working in different context of projects, it's hugely difficult. Okay, it's not like as I explained, it's hugely difficult, because we need to identify the processes and everything, analysis, and there are lots of processes involved with the business analyst work. So we have to provide as outputs, we have to provide lots of artifacts, and we have to connect with people on the other side, and we have deadlines and everything. So it's really tough. But it's not about the overtime working or anything. It's like that we have to have a plan, that how do we do these things and these things, what are the priorities and everything. You should be able to manage within that given context, and you should able to adapt in given any scenario, because in every project you are the starters as a business analyst. And so basically that's kind of essential skill. Next thing is a relationship building. I agree with that too, because when I started the career as a business analyst, I'm also having that Basically I'm naturally like to connect with other people, but when it goes to the business world, the context is very different to the common world, and they are talking in different language, and their levels are different. Some people are so you as a business analyst, you are meeting lots of different people. Okay, we are not like
Recording in
that. As a
progress.
business analyst, you are we are
Recording
not
in
like that.
progress.
As a business analyst, you are meeting different kind of people. So relationship building is kind of essential. So the way you contact with that the people, and if you have a capability to connect with someone who you don't know before easily, you have a good potential to have that relationship building skill. And think about that. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Okay, this is actually this is business analyst core competency model.
Recording in progress.
Here, those 6 knowledge areas mentioned, and in the middle circle, actually techniques are mentioned. I'm not going to talk about that because there are lots of techniques. If I'm not mistaken, there are 30 techniques mentioned in the BA book guide, and you can go through the BA book if you are able to find it, and definitely you can find it in the web because it's available, but it's a kind of a members only material, but you are able to find it. I encourage you to read those techniques, and it doesn't matter that your role as a business analyst. It will be really helpful you to enhance your potential in other areas as well if you have these kind of techniques and the knowledge areas. Okay, so first there are 6 knowledge areas. First knowledge area is business analysis, planning and monitoring, and the next one is elicitation and collaboration. Next one is requirement lifecycle management, and then strategy analysis, requirements analysis and design definition, and solution evaluation. So each of these knowledge area has the BA book has introduced 5 levels of competencies. Okay, 5 levels of competencies means in the BA book guidance, they have provided that in each area, how do we go from one level to one level, and what kind of expectation of the proficiency in each knowledge area. If I giving you an example, let's say that business analysis and planning and monitoring is a knowledge area. Okay, there are 5 proficiency levels. If I'm not mistaken, the first level is awareness level, and the highest level is the strategic level. There are middle levels as well. If you want to go to the level 1 to level 2, it describe what you have to do, what kind of proficiency level you should have in the area of business analysis, planning and monitoring. Likewise, each of the knowledge area, this proficiency level described in that BA book guidance. Okay, you can refer that. Actually, this model, I want to put it in here because if you go to the industry, this model now practically available to evaluate you. Actually, if they want to evaluate you in correct, I mean the more standard companies using this model to for promoting you, for evaluate you and interview you, this information will be used by most of the standard organization. I don't mean that every organization will be use this model, but if you have this the idea of these knowledge areas, you will be able to enhance your knowledge by yourself that if you have the level 1 knowledge area, if you want to level 2, you want to upgrade yourself to level 2, you know that these things, I must have this kind of provisions in this area. Okay, so please read those things in the BA book. Now I'm gonna talk about each single knowledge area briefly. Okay, since time limitation, I'm gonna talk about briefly. Inside the business analysis, planning and monitoring, actually we in this knowledge area talk about how to plan the business analysis approach. Sorry, how the business analysis approach has to be planned, because this area is very important. As a business analyst, you know that you are the you are in this the project in the initiation state. Okay, so you should plan everything, because based on your artifacts and your analysis and everything, there are lots of there are lots of process has to be done in a project. So you should estimate everything correctly, and you should in the real world, when you are giving a project or problems to be solved, and the first thing they will ask is give us the estimations and everything. So we need to plan it. Okay, so it's kind of essential. I will give you that. Then in this approach, actually there are 3 types of approaches, actually: adaptive approach, predictive approach, and hybrid. Predictive approach means if you know that these are the things that has to be done when you start in the project, that the elicitation and everything, that you can easily understandable, and you know the goals of the project in the initiation of the project. So you can go with that approach. There are few things to learn from the experience as well. For adaptive approach, it's mean like it's kind of agile. Okay, it's agile approach. It's kind of a gray area, that you are giving a new problem that hasn't been done by anyone before. In that situation, you don't know the correct goals of the stakeholders. You know the high level goal, obviously you need it, but you know in deep that how to go these areas, but you can identify until this point I have to do this kind of analysis and everything. You can start on that, and next you can estimate on few days for the planning on next sprint and a next planning stage, and likewise approach. And there are some cases, let's say that you are giving a system, you are given a system, and there are lots of modules under that system. In that situation, one module is you can use adaptive approach, and one module you can use the predictive approach planning, and it is described as a hybrid approach. And the next one is you should plan the stakeholder engagement. In this stage, you should identify who are the stakeholders and how to identify them. And once identify, how the communication has to be done between the stakeholders, and you have to identify their impact on the project, and everything has to be done. There are techniques actually for stakeholder engagement. I suggest you to research on that if you are interested on that. Based on the impact and their interest on the project, we can analyze the stakeholders. It's really important. Okay, it's really important. I recently I went to a webinar done by IIBA, and many webinars done by IIBA, they always mention that some of the business analysts are over 30 plus with 30 plus experience. They are saying that most common, the biggest issue that you can face as a business analyst is happen when you identify stakeholders after running the not in the initiation stage. Actually, it means when you identify a stakeholder in the middle of the project, it will be a hassle. Okay, you will not get an idea about that. I will give one small example. When you are given a project, and in the practical world, actually, the project maybe in one company, the funders are in another company. Okay, so the people we are contacting from the funding point of view is not the one who are taking the decisions. Okay, if we identify that person is not the one who are taking the decision in the middle of the project, can be a hassle when you identify it lately. Okay, so it's kind of a essential one. Then we have to plan business analysis, governance, and governance means that how the business analysis standard processes has to be done and everything. How the information management has to be done. How do we identify the business analysis performance improvement? And because each of the organization has their own practices, that each role have their own practices. So a business analysis also have that kind of practices. When you go to one organization to that organization, even though that you have to do the same thing, same kind of practices, but they have different approaches and everything. They have their own standards. So we have to identify those things in the business analysis, planning and monitoring knowledge area. Related to that, actually, lots of informations will be there in the BA book, and please read it. And the next stage is the elicitation and collaboration. In this knowledge area is all about how do we prepare for elicitation. I hope that you have the idea of elicitation, right? Elicitation means extracting information, problems, requirements from the stakeholders. Okay, mostly problems. Okay, that's how you prepare for elicitation, how you conduct elicitation, and how do we confirm elicitation results, and how do we communicate business analysis informations, and how do we manage stakeholder collaboration. And those knowledge areas are liaising under this elicitation and collaboration knowledge area. And earlier I mentioned that there are 30 techniques described under that BA book. That there are certain techniques for elicitation as well. Brainstorming, interviewing, there are many surveys and everything, and please research on that. And the next thing is requirement life cycle management. In that knowledge area, actually, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about that, because Dinesh also requesting to discuss a bit more about requirement part as well. In this knowledge area is all about trace requirements and designs. And it means, what do you mean by what I mean by trace requirements is, that requirements are in different levels, right? So sorry, so as a business analyst, it's kind of an essential thing that you should do as a business analyst. There are high level requirements and there are low level requirements. Low level means detailed requirements. So you need to trace between them, whether that, so mostly the requirements, when it comes from the business perspective, there are 4 types of requirements. I'm going to talk about that in this section. Actually, there are business requirements, stakeholder requirements, and solutioning requirements. Also, according to IIBA, there are transition requirements as well. I'm not going to deeply discuss about the transition requirements. A bit talk about business, stakeholder, and solution requirements. And mostly, you know, that business requirements are coming from very high level, right? They say that we want to go to this area and we want to build this kind of a product, and that's it. And when you go to the business requirements from the solutioning, not the solutioning, stakeholder requirements, you have to detail that requirement. Okay, when it goes to the solutioning requirement, it has to be more detailed because it's the requirement that is used by developers to develop the product actually. So since I'm talking about this, first I'm going to talk about these requirements, okay? Because yeah, it's necessary. So business requirements, you know, it's all about, as I mentioned, it's in the business requirements, it's described the concerns of the people who have to fund to develop this project, okay, the solution. Actually, I saw very funny examples also related to that, not related to IT, but it's easily to you to understand what is business requirement. I will share with you in a minute after describing the stakeholder requirement. The stakeholder requirement is aimed the concerns of people who will work with this solution. Actually, it's about the people who are working in day-to-day their work in the project. They are the one who are saying these requirements. Actually, those are stakeholder requirements. Then the next one is the solution requirements. It's kind of detailed requirements. Actually, there are two types of solution requirement. I know that most of you know that basic stuff. Functional and non-functional requirements. Those two are solution requirements. Solution requirement is aimed for the concerns of the people who are actually building product. Okay, so we are describing the product, the requirement based on the people who are building it under this functional and non-functional requirement. Basically, I think that you have some kind of basic idea about functional and non-functional requirement, but I'm briefly explain. Okay, functional requirement is basically how to explain it, how the solution must behave. Okay, how the solution must behave. It's like think about like this way. What do you want to do? The system should be able to perform. Okay, what the product should do is described under the functional requirements. Okay, let's get it like that. What the system should do is functional requirement. Non-functional requirement is how the product should do it. Okay, it's kind of a constraint. Okay, I will for the functional requirements as an example. Let's think the system must send a confirmation email. Let's think whenever an order is placed. Okay, it's a functional requirement. Okay, let's think non-functional requirement. In here you saw that it's kind of a mandatory, right? Functional requirement is kind of a mandatory. Non-functional requirement, let's think like that example, when the submit button is pressed, the confirmation screen must load within 2 seconds, right? It's kind of a functional requirement. And you saw in that both cases, it's in both requirements, it's more specific, right? You can't having a high level requirements under the solutioning requirements. Okay, it has to be more detailed. you know that basically in theory for the non-functional requirements, under the non-functional requirement that you know as theory, that we are talking about the performance, security, reliability, and portability kind of things. So basically think if you are um, uh, unable to and difficulty to understanding the non-functional requirement, think there this is not be a correct definition, but think like this way: if there is a requirement that cannot put like a functional requirement, always a non-functional requirement, most of the time. I saw that definition in somewhere, I don't remember, but it's not the correct definition actually. That actually but it's easy to the understand, and you can think in that way. It's kind of a tip. And always non-functional requirements describe the characteristic that you want the system system to have. Actually, for the functional requirements, it's mandatory. You know that without the non-functional requirements, you can't do that particular product, that feature process. And non-functional requirements is also is nice to have one. It's optional. In the given example, what I was given was when the submit button was pressed, the confirmation page must load within 2 seconds. No, so it can be loaded within 5 seconds also. Okay. Within 1 minute also. But when it goes to the end user, if you see that there is a 1 minute, that end user may be frustrated. Okay, that that person, end user, may think that this function may not work. So easily that you can understand, non-functional requirement is required if you go the product into the end user. When it goes to, if you want to sell the product, actually we are not building digital product for fun. No, we are building product for fun as well, but obviously organizations are building digital product for selling purposes. Okay, so end users are very pretty much value to the company. Okay, it's essential. So if you want to deliver the value to the end user, we should address the non-functional requirements as well. So when you write in the non-functional requirement, it doesn't matter the functional or non-functional, it has to be more detailed. Okay, it doesn't like business or stakeholder requirement. As I mentioned that I saw a very funny example for the business requirement, that there was saying that build a family home to replace it. This is consider this as a business requirement. Okay, build a family home to replace the home that was burned down. Okay, that is the business requirement. It's just a high level. Build a family house. It doesn't include how many bedrooms has to be there, how many how the structure has to be done, and it doesn't explain anything. When it goes to the stakeholder requirements, each of the stakeholder are saying that the requirement going to more specific. The next under the stakeholder requirement, it says that we need a family house with 4 bedrooms, so that each child has their own bedroom. Okay, it's one requirement under that stakeholder requirement. We need the next requirement is we need the house to have 2 separate bathrooms to ensure the parents have their own bathroom separate from the children. So you can understand now. Then we have when it goes to the business solution to stakeholder requirements, we give more details. When it goes to solution requirements, it says I want my bedroom to be painted pink so that everyone will know it is my room. The requirement has coming from a little girl, and actually it's it detail more of that stakeholder requirement. Actually, that is the requirement that should go to the developers. If it is a developer, that should be goes to the paint. Actually, the people who are really working on that project, that is the requirement goes to the painter. And the next there is another one. I want it is coming from the teenage boy. I want my bedroom floor space to be at least 30 square meters so that I can practice my skateboard tricks in the bedroom, right? So it's more specific. Now you understand from high level to how the requirements goes high level to more detail. Okay, when you specifically given the non-functional and functional requirement, it means it has to be more detailed. Okay, so I hope that you got an idea about the requirement. I briefly say about the transition requirements. I think you don't need it in your perspective. Transition requirements is it's like this. It's define the requirements for capabilities needed to transition from an existing solution to new solution. That kind of a definition can be given. It's like this. If you have a product that old product, right, you are going to revamp the product, and in this situation that you should consider how the data conversion and migration should be done, and those kind of things. Okay, so those kind of things will fall under transition requirements. So under the requirement lifecycle management, actually I explained all these things under actually trace requirements and designs. Actually, okay, how do we trace in this knowledge area? The BA Borg guidance talk about trace requirement and design. All the things I mentioned under that under the trace requirement and design. So we have there are informations about maintain the requirements and designs, and how do we prioritize requirement, how do we assess requirements, and the design changes, how do we approve requirements and designs, and these kind of things are under the knowledge of requirement lifecycle and management. Since time is moving so fast, I'm briefly explain the few next few things. The next knowledge area is strategy analysis. Under this knowledge area, actually, we are talking about how the current state of the product, and what is the define the future state, and when we move into the current state to future state, what kind of risk that we are facing, and define change strategies. You know that in the industry, these things are happening more often. You know that it's called in the industry, we call that CRs, change request. It's happening more often. So in this knowledge area is talking about how do we do that, how do we how do we define the change strategy, okay, when we are having new requirements, and it happen more often. And the next knowledge area is requirement analysis and design definition. Under this knowledge area, we are talking about how do we specify model requirements and designs, verify requirements and designs, and how do we validate requirements and designs. Once you design a solution for the requirements, you have to you know that it has to be validated by other people, right? There are we have to validate the technical feasibility with architectures, and and some other business perspective and the technical perspective, there are different people to be validated those solutions. So how do we do that, and how do we define requirement architecture, how do we define the design different options, and how do we analyze potential value, and how do we recommend solution, because it is essential as a business analyst in the industry. Most of the time you can't suggest only one solution. You have to provide multiple solution. When it is possible, you have to provide multiple solution. So in those kind of things will be discussed under this knowledge area. The last one is the solution evaluation. In this knowledge area, actually, we talk about how do we measure the solution performance once we identify the solution, and accordingly we build the product, feature or something. When it goes to the users, how do we measure the performance, and how do we analyze it? How do we assess the limitation, and how the limitation, what kind of limitations? And you know that you can't provide the features or anything. You will realize that in the real world, without limitation, everything has a limitation. Okay. In some point of view, you will not be able to understand what is the limitation, but everything has a limitation. So how do we assess that limitation in that particular solution, and recommending workaround? You know that in the industry as well, as a business analyst, you should suggest lots of workaround. So sometimes if you I'm not recommending that if you miss a requirement, you are responsible to gather the requirement correctly. But if you miss a requirement or something happened, unfortunately, because we all are humans, we are trying to be perfect, but we cannot be 100% perfect anytime. But when we having such a situation, we need to know that how do we provide at least a workaround until we provide the a full solution. So how do we recommend that actions and everything will be discussed under this solution evaluation knowledge area. Actually, describing this knowledge area in this session, I'm not expecting you to have a thorough understanding about these areas, because I know that those are something boring and something it's not easy to understand without the experience. But I just want to in this session, I expect you to have the idea that there is this kind of model, business analyst, there is a business analyst core competency model. Now you know that there is something like that. I want you to go through internet and search on these knowledge areas and learn when you are required to know those areas. As I know that now you are in kind of a requirement gathering and documentation stage. So read about requirement lifecycle management and elicitation and collaboration. I think you have gathered all the information you needed, hopefully, and read about those things, right? It will be helpful. That's what my expectation was. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Actually, here I mentioned 3 organizations, international organizations, which are actually promoting standard for business analysis. Actually, it is kind of not essential, but it's better that you know that there are international organizations who have promoted standards and frameworks for business analysis available in the market. And there are a lot more, but these 3 are the most important and highly recommend, and the quality of the standards also worldwide, globally using standards. Okay, So the first one is, I already explained you, IIBA. They have lots of certifications related to business analysis, and BCS also providing certifications. I'm a certified business analyst from BCS. I also did certification on BCS as well. There are actually each of these individual organizations are interconnect. Actually, for if you do a IIBA certification, it's recognized by BCS and the Project Management Institute, and the vice versa. Okay. The Project Management Institute also having some certification, one certification actually related to business analysis. It's more about project management side. They have PMI PBA certification. It's, I think, even before the IIBA, they have that certification. But also IIBA certification is recognized by Project Management Institute as well. Actually, the certification are a bit expensive in these days, you know, with the dollar rate and pound rate. It's a bit more expensive, but when in the future, when you have that kind of potential to spend on this certification, and if you want to go to the business analyst side, or it doesn't matter that if you want to go to the project management side, please think about doing a certification in these project management, these institutions, because it's highly recommended. And if you do those kind of certification, it's you will be getting an idea about doing things more standard way, right? Think about more standard way, like touching everything more binding. So think about that. And next thing, career path for BA. I don't know whether that you can see each of these roles are can be seen by you, because mentioned designations are very small. After the discussion, I will share this slide with Samit, and you can have that, and you can have the idea about these roles. Actually, I put this image. I took it from IIBA. They are more oftenly actually updating these job roles under, actually now all the things that I have described was business analysis. Okay, business analyst is just a one job designation. Okay, one job designation. There are in the world, in here in this picture, actually you can see this this actually updated in 2022. This is the latest one. They are the IIBA is updating it in more often, actually. Hopefully within next couple of months we have to receive another one. Now they are conducting a survey and researching on that, and these are the job roles are using the business analysis core competencies. Okay, these are, so the mentioned essential soft skills are pretty much similar in, not limited, pretty much similar in each job roles designations mentioned in here. You can see there are plenty of job opportunities and designations are currently available for the business analysis. And I just wanted to put you here because I don't want to narrow you to think about business analysis one career. And there is only path that you can go is to become a junior business analyst, and they become associate business analyst, then business analyst, senior business analyst. And that is the most common way, you know, become a senior business analyst, then you can be a lead functional analyst and the consultant, and then business analyst principal. That is the, I think, most common way that, and from the principal business analyst, you can go to the director board and everywhere. And that is the most common path for the business analyst that everyone knows. I don't want to limit you to that path, because today world is changing very exponential way. The technologies are exponentially growing. So if we talk about 10-15 years ago, there wasn't a business analyst role. Actually, business analyst, there wasn't a designation called business analyst. There was a system analyst. Actually, there was system analyst 15-20 years ago. Actually, in my early organization, I met my CEO was a system analyst in a very popular organization in the world, in Australia. And he said that he never thought like that he was a system analyst in the early days. The system analyst is more into more technical things, and he also has to think rather than the business side, he more into the technical things. He never thought that this career will grow into this level in 20 years, 30 years ago, actually. So in the future also, this designation, there are many designations will be there. There are new roles will be there, but their common thing is in here. The essential soft skills I mentioned under there are pretty much similar. Okay, in the future also, those essential soft skills will be needed to you to perform it more efficient way. So the different happen is the hard skills. If you have the required hard skills related to each of these job role, and if you have that kind of soft skill, you can easily move into one job role, into a single job role to you can be, if you are business analyst, you can easily migrate into the data analyst also. If you have the correct hard skill to perform that job role, you can easily manage to move into that. I have friends and who did that. Actually, you can easily do that. So don't think narrowly. In the typical Sri Lanka, in these days, actually, typical role, you know that the first you have to start as an intern business analyst or junior business analyst, then you can move towards then associate business analyst, senior business analyst, and then a functional lead or consultant, and then principal business analyst. There is a most common role. You can go in that pathway. Anyway, if you have some kind of interest, start somewhere, then you can move to any job role as you like within this arena. Let's move to the next slide. Actually, in this slide also, it's mentioned like it's technology focused. Actually, this is also updated by IIBA. According to that, there are job roles more technology focused and business focused, and you see that business analysts are in the middle, because we need both ways, the understanding. And I'm not gonna talk about a lot more things from this side. I will move to this page. Now, in this slide, actually, I tried to share you few tips from my experience as a business analyst. I have currently I have a few business analysts reporting to me, and I'm working with lots of junior business analysts and intern business analysts. I saw some it's not like issue or anything. All these things can be learned, because skills can be learned, especially hard skills. Soft skills, you have to practice it. These are some of the tips. And first, I saw that most of the junior business analysts or any people come to the industry, they don't have a very little knowledge, a theoretical knowledge of agile and scrum processes. even some doesn't have even the theoretical knowledge as well. Maybe they in the degree program they have done the learning for Agile and Scrum, but when it comes to the industry, they doesn't know anything. Please at least have some idea about what is Agile and how the process happen in Agile and Scrum. Learn about those things. You can easily, all the details are available in the web, and there are lots of materials available in the web. Please go through it. And next thing is actually not the major thing. Actually, it's about please know about the complete Microsoft Office suite, including Microsoft Visio, because I mentioned that because most of the organization now have all the Microsoft package, including the Microsoft Visio. So you know that basically we all are using the package, most of the companies. So try to learn how to use that Microsoft Visio and how to do the modeling things and how to process the diagramming and everything through that Microsoft Visio. And also we can use it as a wireframing tool as well. Please learn that. We don't have to mention that Microsoft Office package, because I know that most of you guys, not most, all of you guys have that that potential and the competency in Microsoft Office, because I know that now it is readily available. In 10-15 years ago, actually there are separate courses as well for Microsoft Office packages. Now it doesn't matter now. Then now generation has that competency actually. I just want you to learn about Microsoft Visio. I think you are lacking on that area because you are not using it more often. No? So specifically learn that. If you can learn about learn at least one single wireframing tool. Okay, if you want to, it doesn't matter you are becoming a developer, QA, or anyone. It's a really good skill. It's a kind of essential for if you want to become a business analyst. It's kind of essential to learn at least one wireframing tool. The reason is I'm having that lots of people having difficulty to learn that skill. It's not difficult actually. There are lots of tools are currently available in the market. I used to use Azure RP, Figma for wireframing. Also now we are using Microsoft Visio as well. You don't need to learn everything. I think Azure RP is a paid version. So I think it's a paid version, but you can use a trial as well. So 2 weeks trial, if you can use it, just learn within 2 weeks. It's not a major thing. The importance of it that you can build a working prototype using those tools actually. Azure RP and Figma. There are more tools. I'm not promoting them. They are not paying me to promote them. Actually, working prototype, it's a bit easier when you if you are a BA, it's easy that you are going to deal with business people. They don't speak the language that developers talk. So you can easily communicate if you have that kind of prototype. It makes thousands of minutes of your and your client's time if you can make such tool. Also, developers also easily identify that. Also, please learn about these terms, like in the UI perspective. Please learn like that if someone says it's a radio button, it's a drop down, and when they are saying the technical terms related to UI, please learn those names. It will be handy. Okay, when you go to the industry, it doesn't matter what kind of trail that you are going to play. in the industry, it will be really nice if you have that idea. Next, please learn about modeling. I know that you have learned lots of modeling techniques under your degree program, modeling techniques and tools. Tools are pretty much similar. You know that modeling techniques, right? Modeling techniques are diagramming tools, diagramming. Specifically learn you have to be master at activity diagrams. Okay, if you want to become a BA, and you have to it's not a rocket science, it's pretty much easier, right? Learn about activity diagram. I met lots of people who have really understand the theory of activity diagram but fail to use it more practically via the swim lane diagrams. And you know that there are lots of diagram modeling techniques are there available, class diagram and everything. You don't need to it's better that you can learn everything in better way, but master at activity diagrams and swim lane kind of diagramming, because in the real world, in the real industry, you have to map lots of things. Okay, you have to replicate the real scenario through and diagram. So you should have that skill actually. As a tool, I'm using mostly draw.io. It's free tool, and there are lots of tools. You don't have to narrow yourself for one tool. It depends on you. It doesn't matter the tool. Learn about the techniques and try to map real case scenarios. Okay, when you do more practices, you will be expert on these things. Okay, related to modeling techniques. Don't think like learn those things and write and sit for an exam is enough for doing these things in the real world. The next thing is business analyst. Learn about business analyst basic artifacts such as SRS and BRD. Actually, I wrote that. Actually, in the real world, in the current context, I have to be honest with you, we don't use the SRS anymore, but we in some cases we are using BRD because there are now tools are available. Project management tools, you know that most common tools are Jira, Azure DevOps. In our organization, we are using Azure DevOps. Now you can create issues through that, and actually you can mention your requirements in that particular platform. So you can easily manage your requirements through that platforms, and it's really easy. And it doesn't mean that learning about SRS and BRD concepts is a waste, right? You should learn about these concepts, SRS and BRD. Those informations are now replicating in different formats, different for digital forms, but the concepts are same. Okay, so please, I will share some templates with Samit also within next couple of days. SRS and BRD, please refer and have some kind of idea. It doesn't mean that you can't expert on that without doing it. So in your project, try to do one of them, and please learn it. And there are lots of artifacts that BA should do, but related to your knowledge level, I think SRS BRD will give you some idea about how the requirements should write and everything, that the formats and everything you will be having some idea. Okay, so please have that idea. I think we are coming to the end. Actually, this is some kind of I have mentioned some of the references for your future improvements. There is a book. Actually, this book I in the initial state of business, as a business analyst, I read this book, actually, Business Analysis for Dummies. You know that there are lots of books in a dummies version, and you know that for business analysis also there is a dummy version. Actually, they written that book based on the BA book IIBA. You can easily find that BA book II guidance. Now it's version number 3. Okay, BA book version number 3. Please read it. And it's kind of boring for new people. Actually, I have to be honest with you. Same happened to me as well, but it's really helpful for you if you have kind of a idea about that. It will be really helpful. So Business Analyst for Dummies has been written based on the BA book by IIBA. There is a book called Written Effective Use Cases by Alistair Cockburn, and it's a very old book. If you are interested to read, and please read it as well. There are lots of materials are available. Okay, I'm also having few materials as well, but some may have the, you know, that it's not free, but I'm having a IIBA book. It's actually based on the BA book guidance. I just found it. It's free. It's free. As I saw, it's free. Hope it can be shared. If it is it can be shared, I will share with Samit, and you all can have it. I'm not sure that. Have to check that. Otherwise, I can't share it because it's not ethical. No? But easy, you can, if you have the encouragement and the excitement, you can find it easily on the website. The business analysis, there is a book called Business Analysis Techniques, 99 Essential Tools for Success. This is a very good by BCS. Please read it. There are lots of techniques now. Under the BA book, there are only 30 techniques. There are lots of techniques. Tools are mentioning under this book, under forebook. Please read it. It doesn't matter the role that you are going to play at the industry in the future. Business analysis skills will help you to think about the most of the problems, and in your personal life as well, more structured way. Okay, it will change the way you see the problems. Okay, so I hope it's actually, I'm really sorry that it took this much of time to explain all these things. Hope you have some kind of idea of business analysis, and if you have any questions related to this, I hope that now you can ask. I can give you a few minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very informative and impressive session. But we are since limited to time. Now you are moving to the Q&A. Guys, if you have any questions related to today's session topic, you can feel free to ask your questions by unmuting your microphone, or else use the chat box.
Sir, we discussed many knowledge areas and skills for business analysts. Then I asked this question, especially based on soft skills. Then do you think the business analyst can be replaced by artificial intelligence? Is it possible?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's a very prominent question from most of the people. Now they are searching that. Now you know that that's the popularity of with the chat GPT, that most of the people asking that question. In my answer for that is for related to the soft skill that you saw in that, as I explained in the session, it's really we are in the now, even though that we talk about the artificial intelligence, we are in the initial state of kind of, there are lots of things has to be done to improve that artificial intelligence in the future. So there are very 100%, I can't say that the business analyst will be replaced, but there are some roles. There are roles like data analyst. The data related roles are now evolved with the business analysis competencies, like data analyst, data scientist, and there are some roles. So those roles can be replaced actually, because they are doing some kind of a data analysis part, and according to that they are suggesting recommendations. Those kind of thing is their area. Those kind of things, I think it's pretty much replaceable by that AI. But business analyst as a profession, it cannot be replaced by AI. I think next few years it will not happen, because it involves lots of creativity. The way we think, it's a bit different, and in that way, and that real problems happen to people. No? In that perspective, we have to connect with people. So I don't think AI will be able to connect with the people as same as the same as the human. For now, I don't know. In the future, it will be different. But in the very next future, next couple of years, it will not happen. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, we got it. So thank you. And I have another question. If someone hope to work abroad as a business analyst, so which country has more job opportunities, and what are the global and local salary rates? I know that can be depend on their performance or position. I asked the other.
It's a very good question, actually. It's a very difficult question, the second one. The first question is it possible to work remotely in other countries, and are there the job opportunities in what are the job opportunities? Actually, related to business analyst, it's a very good question. I saw a week ago, there's a reliable source according to US Department of Labor, that there is a 14% improvement in business analysis career job opportunities in US by 2028, right? It's a 9% higher than the other job roles. So it's a good one, right? Because so basically, that US is kind of with the Silicon Valley, they have lots of startups and everything. Now with the political situations happening globally, now they have lots of challenges. So basically now they are promoting the startups and the supporting system towards the startups again to become the world number one, because now the China is becoming the number one in current base. Now they want to become a leader again. So basically there will be more job opportunities will open in US. I think it's a very reliable source, so I can say that. If you search the jobs in related to business analysts in Europe as well, and Canada, there are lots of opportunities. Okay, you will be having that idea if you become a business analyst. This is kind of personal, but you will be getting lots of messages from recruiters and everyone for requesting join with them and have a discussion and facing interviews and everyone. There are lots of demand in that area. Europe, Canada, and US, I think there is a demand because they know that they are going backward after the Corona period. That the Asian regions are performing very well after this the pandemic. So they want they have that strategic plan. So I think more job opportunities will be available for business analysts in everywhere globally. To your second question, actually, salary ranges are it's very difficult question. I don't remember your name. Sorry, what's your name?
Kavya. Kavya, that's right.
Kavya. Kavya, actually, it's a kind of an open question. Actually, I can't say you this much of amount, but it's the companies are there are different kind of companies. Okay, according to the company capabilities and everything. Now where it's actually now we are providing very higher salaries when people are starting. Even in the industry, you may not believe there are people who are having over having kind of a hitting 1 million kind of a monthly salary also possible in this area. Actually, it's kind of there are lots of possibilities. I can't say that this much of amount will be provided by company, but roughly it's let's say in the starting point it's I think I better not to talk about that. It's a very difficult question. Yeah. Yeah, it's different, but based on you should when you face an interview in the first place for a company, make sure to express yourself that you are capable of doing things and everything. Then if you it different because the salaries are different one person to one person. Okay, it based on his capability. If you are capable enough to negotiate, because negotiation skill is essential for the business analyst. Okay, you should be able to negotiate this much of amount is you should prove that you are worth for that kind of a money. Okay,
thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. And also there's a question in the chat box. Let me ask that.
Okay.
We know that this is business analysis is very important for the undergraduates who are learning in the management side. So what is the importance of business analysis as an undergraduate who is learning in IT side?
In IT side, it doesn't matter the side that you are learning. Actually, it doesn't matter that you are learning in business or learning in IT. In IT also, if someone learning in all the subjects are in IT, right? In that perspective, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Basically most of the people are trying to become developers, and everyone, you know that there is a huge potential in business analyst area, as I mentioned earlier, because there are very few people who are in actually there is a requirements to have BAs are huge. Actually, we need lots of BAs in our company also. We need lots of BAs, but in the market we don't have that much of BAs in these days. Actually, it's really hard because people are some of the people have left the country, and we have to accept that some of the people have left the country, and it's very difficult. There is a huge gap in the market at the same time. So there is a huge potential that you can earn sometimes more than the developers in some cases. Okay, more than the developer, because you are rare character, because the business analysis job role cannot perform by a developer in cases. Actually, I saw that developers also, I met some people became business analysts as well, and in some cases. So there's a huge potential. It doesn't matter the side that you are working on, that business or IT, there's a potential.
Yes, and also they're asking about in our fourth year, what are the areas that we can do research in business analysis as an MIT undergraduates?
So you are talking about, I didn't get that question.
What are the areas we can do research as in business analysis as an MIT undergraduates? For the fourth year research,
okay, research. Fourth year research, mostly that you guys can have to do, you know, that basically into, you have to do a product, right? There is some kind of project, right? It's not about writing a thesis like that, right? So so if you there are lots of areas, okay? So don't limit yourself for one area. It doesn't matter the area or industry or anything. Search on it. Actually, because of it's your own thing, I think it's kind of a new thing to you. I encourage you to select something, that industry or something that you like, okay? If let's say that you like to do your research on, do your project on, let's say that you have some kind of interest in, let's say, the agriculture. Let's start from there. Search narrow down your area, okay? That when it comes to the agriculture, there are lots of area. No, I don't have any idea about the agriculture. I just mentioned it. So narrow down that idea into a small one and select one particular area and find a problem in that area. Okay, find a problem that need to be solved. I don't know, let's say that there is a problem is collecting harvest in more proper way in Sri Lanka. Because of that, there is a lots of problems are arising. So even you can narrow it down to more further, go into that level and do some research and everything, and suggest a solution for that. Okay, that's the way. Because otherwise, if you are finding an industry or something that doesn't make you any interest, make you that boring to do that, and it will not be effective. So yeah, so I hope that you got that.
Yeah, sir, I got that answers from you. So it seems like there are no more questions. So
can I ask one question?
Sure.
Yeah.
Aravinda, thank you very much for your presentation. When I look at the core competency metrics or whatever, the most of the competencies that are towards the business side. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So now, when it comes to a BA, I assume that he has to deal with developers and the software engineers as well. So what type of technical skills that you would recommend for a BA?
Technical skills, yeah, that's a good question, Dinesh sir. Actually, actually in the model actually prepared for discussing share the knowledge area for the overall idea of about the career. At when it specifically talk about the technical skills that are required by the business analyst, I'm saying that learn about few tools for wireframings and everything, as I mentioned earlier, and please learn about the SQL, because sometimes you have to extract information and data from, let's say that you are in the process of revamping a project. In that project, you should have the understanding about the data structure and how things happened in the current projects. So basically, so SQL, the knowledge is pretty much essential, and learn about wireframings and those kind of tools actually. Other than that, related to the projects, we need some hard skills, like when you want to let's say that you are in a project of integrating let's say that now we have a HR system that now we want to integrate it with the LMS, learning management system, third party. So that integration point of view, we should know that how the API works and everything. We should have some kind of idea about that. So technical perspective, we should have those. Otherwise, you will not be able to communicate with the architectures and the developers and the technical people, because they are telling in that language, you know. So basically, these types of APIs are requesting, and these are the also you should have some idea about how the security is working in nowadays. Is security is kind of essential thing in an environment, because there are standards now. Lots of organizations are having that standard. So basically, those standards, technical ideas also, I think BA should have. I think those areas are essential, sir. And other than that, I don't remember that I mentioned it. Please learn about Jira and Azure DevOps. DevOps, I mean the project management tools, and learn about those things. You can easily learn. Actually, I don't know whether that Azure DevOps are freely available, but you can learn about those things. Jira is free, up to 10 users, it's free. You can go and learn that how the things will incorporated through the developers, QAs are connected to Jira and everything. You can learn practically through that tools. When you are doing a project, actually use that tool. Actually, in a group project, please use that tool and get some hands-on experience if possible, because it's freely available, Jira. And I don't know about the Azure DevOps. And other than that, basically, the very good question. Actually, learn about, I forgot to mention, learn about UI UX. It is kind of essential in these days. I know that there are experts on UI UX separately in our organization, also having different people for UI UX, but you can't directly go to the UI UX without suggesting something, right? You should suggest these kind of things I need, right? Then they will improve that to some level with their magic, that they will do different kind of thing. But in the first place, you should suggest. In some cases, I saw that some business analysis are failed in that case. Actually, they are not focusing on UI UX, and you need to know about the terms and everything, that there are several processes as well. You can learn easily. Those are easily available, readily available in the web. Yeah, those things are enough, more than enough to perform the business analysis work. So that's it.
Thanks, Aravinda. Thank you.
Okay, welcome.
So thank you so much, sir. You have covered all the ideas and necessary information about the business analysis career path. Now, on behalf of the Department of Industrial Management, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to you, sir, for accepting our invitation and sharing the knowledge with us. Also, I thank our academic staff, Mr. Dinesh Asanga and Dr. Amila Vithanarachi, for making this session more valuable with the presence. I'm sure all the participants have got the necessary information from today's session. So guys, that's about over today. Let's meet into the another session of Info Studio. Thank you so much for your participation. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much all and have a nice day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.